Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to go over what I think is the biggest mistake people make when using a VLOOKUP function. And I'm not talking about the limitations of VLOOKUP not being able to go from right to left and only being used from left to right. In a lot of cases, VLOOKUP works just fine and it can get the job done. Most data sets are arranged in a way where the lookup value is going to be on the leftmost sides. There's not a whole lot of situations where you're going to need to go from right to left anyways. There's a bigger issue that can happen if you set up your VLOOKUP function in a way that's, let's say, not necessarily incorrect, but not optimal, especially for the long term. Because what's problematic about the format I'm going to show you is not evident today, but it could be problematic down the road, especially as things change, as your spreadsheet evolves. It could cause headaches later on that you don't realize are even problems with it, even mistakes, and that's what can make it dangerous. So in this example, I'm going to start with a simple VLOOKUP function and show you how it works, how you might set it up. I've got a product ID, I've got a database of products here, along with monthly sales amounts. So going back from 2018 through the end of 2023. And so in this example, I'm going to pull in the sales data for January 2023. So that is all the way over in the 63rd column of this massive list. So it's 801, and that is the correct value I've got here. So the way I've got this VLOOKUP formula set up is, it's referencing the product ID, which is correct. It's referencing this range of D through to CF, which is correct. And referencing column 63, setting that range lookup to false, saying it's looking for an exact match. So take a second to see if you notice an issue with this. So if you're creating the formula today, it's perfectly fine. Right? For today's use, it's fine. There's no issues with it. 801 correct value. There's no problem at all. But the issue can happen down the road as your spreadsheet changes, like I said, because this is a problem that could happen in the future. And you may be tempted to think that, okay, the problem might be that the range may move and you may move stuff around. So like if we move this spreadsheet or move this data set off to the side, like if we insert a few columns here, but you can see the value is still correct. Excel's smart enough to know that, okay, now it's not starting from column D anymore. It's starting from column I, and it's adjusted to go to CK, right? So simple enough, it's still doing that correctly. Whether I add or delete columns from the start, it's not causing an issue here. You can see that 801 still is correct. The problem is, let's say down the road, we're looking at let's say in the future where we decide, okay, we don't need to carry all this historical data. Like, let's say we want to get rid of 2018, right? The issue happens when we start deleting columns within our range. Now, when I delete this, you can see now my sales number is wrong. And the reason is because I hard-coded that 63. It was looking at the 63rd column of that previous range. That number isn't going to update because this one is hard-coded in here. And that's the problem. So I've got a different range here. And now the 63rd column for this range is going to be all the way towards the end here. So 63 is right here. So the 2018 annual total. That's the value that it's pulling. This is the one that I actually needed to pull. And that is the 51st column in this range. So as you can see, years down the road, your spreadsheet all of a sudden is pulling the wrong information because you didn't realize that they were going to delete those columns. Your assumption was that it's going to always be that 63rd column, even though you necessarily weren't thinking that at the time that you made the formula, but that's what happens because that's one of the risks of anytime you're hard coding anything in Excel is that if that data set moves and you've hard coded it, then it's going to be relying on that old information, even though that's not reflective of what's in place today. So that's the biggest issue that I see and that I've fixed for people. In some cases, I've had people who've had hundreds of columns, and they're just referencing a number. And the obvious issue is, if I look at this formula, it's not easy to audit. Okay, what's column 51, right? I have to go here and number all these columns to know exactly what I'm looking at. It's not exactly a practical solution. And this is where, especially if you're using a large data set like this that has the potential to change over time, VLOOKUP may not be the greatest option to use, especially in this form right here. And this is where the one way around this is to not hard code this. For example, if I were to use the match function within here, I could say, okay, let's look for 2023-01, and then within this first column, within this first row. And so I'm going to select that first row and then look for an exact match. And now it's correctly giving me that value in that 801. Now, even if I delete some columns here, it's still going to be correct because now it's using the match function to say, okay, find where this value is in that row, and that's the value that I'm going to use for that column number instead of hard coding it. Now, ideally, we don't even hard code this. We just type in, let's say, 2023-01, and instead of hard coding it, we just reference it right there. Easy enough to do. So that's one way that you can get around this issue, is just to add a match function within your VLOOKUP. Now, if you're dealing with a huge data set like this, though, you may just be better off using an entirely different function and using index and match. That might be one way around this. So with index and match, what we can do is make our formula a bit more versatile in that we're just specifying our entire data set, and then for the row number, we're using the match function to say, okay, look up this value within this column for an exact match, and use the match function as well then to look up this value again within that first row. And so by using an index and match function, it gives us a bit more versatility because now we've eliminated any hard coding. We still got the lookup capabilities of going vertically as well as horizontally. And so even though we don't have VLOOKUP in here, by using two match functions combined with an index function, this can be a better way, especially if you're dealing with a large database, to be able to combine the capabilities of a lookup and not having to worry about any hard coding whatsoever. And this way, if your data set changes, again, delete some columns, whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter as long as our lookup column remains the same, our lookup row remains the same, then everything will be pointing us to the right intersection point in our data set to pull in the right value. So VLOOKUP is a really good function and it can work in a lot of situations, but when you're using it in the context of a large data set where you've got a large table that can change over time, whether it's adding rows, deleting columns, whatever the case may be, it's it may be in your best interest to think about that ahead of time and potentially use index and match or an XLOOKUP function, whatever the case may be, something a bit more versatile. The main thing to remember is you want to avoid hard coding those column numbers. Anytime you're going over just a few columns, then you have the potential for problems later on, especially in large data sets where you've got 10, 20, 30 columns or more, and it becomes hard over time to figure out what column you're exactly looking at. And that's by far the biggest mistake I can see people making with VLOOKUP without even realizing when they're making the the formula initially, just because at first glance everything looks fine, it's getting the desired result, but it's down the road that it can lead to problems. So that's the biggest mistake that I see with VLOOKUP. But the key thing is to avoid hard coding, and that's just a generally good practice in any formula. You want to avoid hard coding as much as possible because that'll make your formulas a lot more versatile. So if you like this video, please leave a like and make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.